The Skip Barber 2K World Cup has become a feature on Sunday night, with some of the world's best Skip Barber drivers going around various race courses in North America, in Europe and in Australasia. But there's always been something that these guys have missed out on, and that is the joy of taking these cars onto an oval. That's what we start tonight. It's a new tradition on Saturday night prime time. This is the Skip Barber 2K Oval League, and what better place to start than at this place, New Hampshire Motor Speedway, where explaining the banking is about as difficult as getting a car set up that will work for these race fans. But still, we've got ourselves plenty of action over the next hour and a half, and it's all here, right live on RaceSpotTV, streaming live on iRacing Live. Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to RaceSpotTV Primetime on Saturday night here on RaceSpotTV Live, streaming also on iRacing Live. We are here at New Hampshire Motor Speedway. It's a track where the banking is 2 over 7th grade, or 7 over 2 grade, depending on how you want to call it. It's fast, it's furious, and it marks the first round of the Skip Barber 2K Oval League. A once-a-month spectacular. It's a good job we just had payday, Jimmy, because we can sit back and relax and we can have ourselves, I think, a fantastic evening's worth of racing.
Yeah, these skippies here are like little mini Indy cars if you take away the technology. It's going to be some very fantastic racing. I'm sure we're going to see many 2, 3, maybe 4 wide action as the race goes on, and qualifying underway at the moment, so we're going to see who we're leading up the field shortly.
Yeah, we've had most drivers already complete their qualifying. We have actually, according to this, have one person left to really pay attention to. That is a Mike Springer heading himself out of corner number 4 and down towards start-finish line. Was P10, is now P10. Well, that wasn't too exciting there, Jimmy, but still we've got a couple of people just bringing their cars back onto track, and Jan Hoffman has still got 1 minute and 4 seconds to try and do himself a lap. He'll get one in, as the lap time here is about 37 seconds.
Yeah, they were saying maybe a 36.5 pole in the practice earlier. We haven't quite got down to that. I think that's because there was draft and practice earlier. I'm very surprised that Bob Adams is so far down. He was leading practice by quite a way, by about a tenth earlier on. And he's down, I think, in 19th position, so he's really lost out on quality.
Yeah, let's listen into the engine note of Hoffman as we come down to 4. See that drop about 30 kilometers an hour through the apex of the corner. This is exactly the same way you would actually drive an Indy car at this racetrack. You cannot take it flat out. You've got to be early off the throttle, let the car settle down. We'll talk about the difference between skippies at this track, Indy cars on this track, over the course of our webcast here today. We're indeed to Fraser Williamson. He is going to be in P number 5. Here is your starting grid then for Saturday night skippies. Well, pole position, that one will go to the driver of Connery Maddock, with Fahim Atinidez starting alongside him on the front row of the grid. 41 1,000ths of a second between pole and P number 2. Then Felipe Burt in 3rd, Will Fisher in 4th. That row 2 very, very close in terms of timings. Then you got yourself Fraser Williamson and Elliott Smith separated by just 5 1,000ths of a second. Brian Duell and Zablix Vea there in row number 4. Row 5 will have Tyler Sutton and Mike Springer with Bastian Huisman and Patrick Poster and all Dutch row number 6. Then we head on back. Row 7 is Tony Schoen, Logan Campit, some more American drivers here coming into the Skip Barber 2K Oval League, as of course we also see them on Sunday Night Skippies. We've got Colin Van Ram and Ian De Frita there in row number 8. Seymour Harding and John Morgan in row 9. Rob Adams and Andres Eek there. As we cycle on back, 26 cars made the trip over to New Hampshire Motor Speedway. We've got ourselves about 20 of them, 24 drivers taking part in the race today. One of the things that these drivers have to get used to doing, rolling starts.
Yeah, I mean, obviously Skip Barber, it tends to be a road series, and as such you don't get the rolling starts. Rolling starts is all from standing, but it's not too difficult to get used to. Just follow the guy in front. If you don't hit him, or try not to anyway.
At
just
the front of the field,
flag.
yes. In the middle, they're stacking up. There is a possibility of, don't actually look at the guy in front of you. Look at the guy in front of them.
Yeah, I mean, I remember mentioning this before, actually, and speaking about that to a friend, about always looking at the leader, if you can see him, see when he goes. But the thing is, if you go too early, and the guy in front doesn't quite see the same thing as you could end up in a gearbox of a Skip Barber in this case, which wouldn't be ideal. No,
one thing you will see is that these little skippies are small, and I mean, I'm just trying to figure out how many of them we can get ourselves in a line here today. Rather than doing what we normally do and saying who's going to win the race, let's play a game. That's called How Many Skippies Can We Get Into a Row? I think we're going to have 5 wide at one point.
I've written down in my notes 4 as a sort of a conservative bet. So you say 4, I say 5. If we see 6, then we're both wrong, and it'll be fantastic. So guys, 6 wide, please, if you don't mind.
Well, I've just drawn out 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 different lanes. Not likely going to happen, but hey. It'll be interesting to see what will happen over the course of this event. Of course, what we want is these cars to actually get going at the rear of the field. There are a couple of people there, well, should we say, having a nap in their car. Jan Hoffman almost didn't get going there.
Yeah, that's what I was saying earlier about people not quite noticing the leader going. He pulled forward and then, oh, wait, stop. The guy in front hasn't moved yet, so I've got to wait. But they're all going around now, so that's all good.
Yep. 2 Englishmen commentating on what essentially is an open wheel event on an oval. This is going to be fantastic fun. Through then, corner number 3 and 4. We'll talk about the banking in this event quite heavily because it's important, and you'll see drivers, if they flick between lanes too much, there's a chance their car will get unsettled and they could end up turning around. So welcome to a new tradition, Saturday Night Skippies in prime time on RaceSpotTV. Green flag is out, we are underway.
Wow, looks like Conor Maddock there got a really awful start, got completely jumped at the start, down to 2nd already. I think that was Antonidis gone straight past. Maybe he might have jumped the start, I'm unsure though. Have to look at that and see if he got a penalty. But at the moment, Antonidis is leading from Maddock.
Indeed it is, and Atanidas there has himself a good 7/10 of a second advantage. We've got 2, 3, 4 wide already as they head themselves down in towards turn number 3. And actually we almost had a bit of contact there That was the number 42 machine. We've got a side-by-side a little bit further up. We've actually got Atenides on towards pit road then. So indeed, there was a penalty for Fahim Atenides. He is on pit road. That will be a black flag penalty. And while Atenides doesn't always have the best of luck, sometimes you make your own luck in. Well, he just went a little bit too early there.
A little bit too itchy on the throttle, very easy to happen, but in this sort of race it's going to cost him dear, and that's pretty much him out the running now. But up the top four together very close. The draft's very strong around here in these cars, so a couple looking at the high line now, seeing if they can make that work. With, I think that's Will Fisher down at the bottom, I think, trying to make the low line work, because you've got to be careful to understeer up to the top, because the understeer is awful in this. You end up in the wall a lot quicker than you think you do.
Indeed. And also, if you drive up the racetrack, it's also going to upset the balance of the race car because of that stepped banking. It's 7 degrees up top. It is 2 degrees on what is technically the apron. And each of the lanes, you add a degree worth of banking. It's complicated, but we have a pass for the race lead right now. This is Connery Maddock heading himself 2 wide in towards 3 wide as they come down in towards turn number 3 again. That's Felipe Burr trying the ultra inside line, but we're going to have a look then. And this is on board 3 wide for the race lead. Out of corner before they come. On board with that driver of Connery Maddock. Well, it's good we've got our 360 camera going on today because we are going to need a lot of it, Jimmy.
Yeah, indeed. So the 777 machine looking up the inside there, Will Fisher, 19 right behind him. We have a spin.
Yeah, we had a half spin. I believe that was Fraser Williamson. We've got a car who's all the way down. Yeah, there we are. There is a number 39 machine of Tyler Sutton. He got himself into a drift. He saved it. But that could have been his game over.
Yeah, and coming around the corner and seeing Skip Barber lengthways across the track is panic mode for everyone. So it's lucky we didn't have a big pile up there. So good job for Tyler.
There's a replay. In towards turn number 1. Back end on the banking. We've been talking about this before we came on air, Jimmy. That banking, catching someone out for the first time.
It's almost like having like a sort of grippy grass almost, where you just sort of touch it and it pulls you up, and then that's Tyler there's the first victim, and probably the first of many.
We've actually had Iron de Frita having himself an incident down in turn number 1 as well. We're just going to show you them. This one, because it was at the end of the last one. We just saw some smoke, and indeed De Frita and Rob Reed are both classified as out of the event. So 2 drivers down. Let's have a look, Glenn, what happened to De Frita. Everyone is starting to check up, and De Frita just got himself high, tagged the side of Rob Reed, and he is classified as out, as we still have, well, 5 drivers, 6 drivers separated by less than 1 second, as they are very close together as they come out of 2 once again.
This is how it's going to be for the entire race. I think we'll probably see a couple of packs develop as you do in most oval racing, but in this case the draft, like I said, very strong around here. Very hard to get away from someone if you're a lot faster in the corners, and to do that around here you got the right setup, which is something very challenging in these cars considering there's not really much to change.
Ryan Dwell in the number 3 Positive Sim Racing car coming on the outside. He's your biggest mover so far in this event. He's actually now up 5 positions, but he got boxed in a little bit there in towards turn number 1 as they are 2 wide, 2 deep. Battle for your race lead right now. It is in order. Will Fisher, he is in the number 42 car. He's got the outside line. Will Fisher's got the inside line. Connery Maddock has got the outside line. Felipe Burr's looking all the way down to the inside once again as they come down in towards that 3rd corner. As well, you see what happened there is Burr started to drift up, and then he actually got pinned down on that bottom lane. As a consequence, Burr is down into P number 4. He couldn't get any traction on that bottom lane.
Just losing momentum, and now all nearly loses it once, twice, sort of half spinning, drifting, just keeps it under control. No idea how he did that. Fantastic control from Labour, but not going to help his pace at all. No,
and those tyres are going to be a little bit warm as a consequence. Let's get a look then from our aerial coverage, because we saw, there we are. You can see we zoom on in. He drifted it there through corner number 1 and 2, and somehow found a way of keeping hold of it. One other thing that's worth noting as well is that even though this is 180-degree corners, the transition from 1 to 2, if I remember correctly, Jimmy, is uphill, whereas the transition from 3 to 4, as you come off onto the front straightaway, is downhill. And that means that actually, we had ourselves a very close moment there with Fahar and Elliott Smith, I think, once again. But it does mean that the 2 opposite ends of the racetrack, very different as you actually unwind the wheel out the corner.
You have to sort of find a rhythm in that sort of thing. It's very difficult to do that because you see an oval, you think, okay, do the same thing each side of the oval, but if you're going down here, you're carrying more speed obviously, and going up here, you're going to sort of strip off that speed a bit quicker. And as you say, it's about getting used to that in the race and making sure your wheel's in the right position. Otherwise, you're going to end up doing what Philip Labert did and having some interesting drifts. And
of course, oh, we had another driver. We've noticed actually it was in the centre of turn 1 and 2 is where we see these drivers drifting the most. Turn 3 and 4 are not so. So the draft could well be having an impact there as well. Now you can see your field, and they all, as they come through turn number 2, they all try and figure out what they're going to do then for the remainder of that lap. But so far, we've been green for 10% now of this event. As they now head themselves through turn number 3 and 4, down towards turn number 1, they will come once again. And it's interesting to note that these top 5 drivers, I've got myself a bit of a gap. 7 tenths per second over Logan Campick, Fraser Williamson, etc. But it seems to be that those guys in that middle pack, they just can't get right there towards those front 4 people.
It seems as well, because I was just watching Fraser Williamson and Logan Clampett, and they seem to be sort of squabbling a little bit, and they can't really be afford to do that at the moment. They need to be working together, if anything, trying to get them back onto the end of that lead pack, those lead 5 cars, and get involved. Otherwise, they're going to find themselves dropping off quicker than they think.
4 wide, almost there, in towards 1. Further back, we've got 2 wide. And, well, we've got ourselves 3 drivers, multiple laps down already. They are John Morgan, Neil Kemp, and Ian DeFruiter. DeFruiter has got his car back out on the racetrack. Rob Reed didn't start this race, so 25 starters, of which all 25 are running. 22 are classified on the lead lap. As we'll just zoom in down in your pack a little bit. We go on board with the driver of Patrick Post, number 28 machine, working himself on the very colourful Benetton-esque inspired number 48 car of Bastian Heusmann there.
I do love those Benetton liveries, very great. And Patrick Post making that high line work and getting it around there very nicely and overtaking that very colourful 48 car, as you said. Now looking up behind Colin Van Ram, and again, it seems to be a good sort of line just in between when the oval splits. I think it's from 5 to 6 degrees, I think it is, if I'm remembering our pre-race notes. But it's that line seems to be running very well for a lot of people. Yeah,
and it's always been the case in the Verizon IndyCar series as well. The last run here in 2011, the bottom lane is not the fastest way around the racetrack. It's actually normally about midway through, and part of that comes down to the tarmac stripe as well. The third lane, of course, where you have the most banking, and then of course you've got the different tarmac stripes to head yourself up the hill, and this is fantastic to see. Now we have got 6 drivers involved in this front pack again. The thing I said about a minute and a half ago, let's throw it down the toilet. Of course, I don't actually normally take notes, but you do. You're more organised than I am.
I love having my notes here. It makes me everything a little bit easier. Something I wanted to mention actually, just with this, the pack comes around again to complete another lap, is we're seeing a lot of people sort of getting a little bit edgy, turning into the corner. That's because turn 1 is just at the you just grab 5th gear coming into turn 1. The people want to downshift into 4th, and obviously having that downshift as well as turning in. If you aren't blipping like any other road car, you're going to have the back kick out, and we've seen that a couple of times.
And at the same time, you can't just leave that car in 4th, because otherwise you're not going to have the straight line speed. So that little wiggle, you are right, these cars, we often see them just getting a little bit loose as they go down the gearbox as well. And it's fascinating to see that these guys have, though, done 15 laps of this event without any major incident. And this is the curse of the commentators kicking in here. As we've got Philippe Labert actually on pit road, so he may well have some damage to that car.
I'm not quite sure what happened to Felipe there, but that's bad luck to him. Like I said, any sort of unscheduled pit stop around this track, because of the nature of the circuit, is you're going to go a lap down, 2 laps down. That's going to be pretty much your race over. So the idea here is just to keep it clean. As a result, I saw the race director just before the race saying that no bump drafting is allowed. So none of that fancy stuff you get in the sprint cars, no pushing each other. You got to keep clean and just make the overtakes you normally.
Well, and there we can see Labert will come out of pit road. He's heading himself on the back straight away once again. Yeah, bump drafting. I mean, of course, you won't bump draft an open wheel car. You can bump draft. You can do what they call the bump and run. As we've got our first quarter of the day, and it is Fraser Williamson. Oh, my word. Upside down. That's going to hurt. That's going to hurt.
To see what happened there, I just caught him mid-air, but that car is definitely done. There are bits missing, tires pointing the wrong way. Not made for aerobatics, these things, unfortunately.
Well, it does say Rocket League on the side of that car. He got drilled by the Benetton machine. And, well, unfortunately, his day is really going to be done. Pit road will be open in a moment's time. We'll see who comes on towards pit road, see who are going to come in and make a start. Of course, these drivers now, they're going to head themselves up right behind the RaceSpotTV first safety car in its magnificent golden blue.
I think if it's any consolation for Fraser, I think he's got our high jump award of the day, so we'll give that to him after the race.
Yep.
I do like that new livery on the Mustang, actually. I've never liked the old one too much.
Nah, the old one was boring. This one's good, and of course it represents a good cause as well, so well done to iRacing for supporting the American Childhood Cancer Foundation, organisation even, and that is as a consequence of, you know, if you got a safety car, you might as well use it. Everyone then looking as though they're going to come in. 18 and 100 scored complete. I'm going to run down on towards pit road for almost everyone. You can see we're having a look. The cars that won't come in at this stage, the reason why is quite often because of the fact that they are classified as one lap down, so they're having to wait until next lap. For those of you who are unfamiliar with road racing, so oval racing, they have to wait until next lap before they are allowed to come on towards pit road and make themselves a pit stop.
I think if it were me in this situation, I'd take a gamble if I was a lap down. I wouldn't pit. I'd go around, maybe try and get my lap back and try and get back onto the lead lap, because that's where obviously the positions are. And that applies to John Morgan, Neil Kemp and Verida as well. So if they're still around and they're still racing, they need to take that advice and try and get their lap back.
Indeed. Mike Springer on pit road. So we've got a couple of people on pit road now. The wave around rules, they are as follows. If you are ahead of the driver in first place, after everyone's made them pit stops with one to go, then you'll be waved around the pace car. Therefore, you get a lap back. If not, well, tough. Better luck next time. As you can see now, the iRacing.com first safety car is going to head itself past the start finish line, and the light on top of it should go out this time.
One of the nice things about this being a relatively short track is that we don't really get the long pacing period you would get in, say, Indianapolis or Daytona. Hopefully we'll be back racing very shortly.
Indeed, so we will step aside for literally 1 minute. We'll be back at the green after this. We like quick cautions. We like quicker commercials, Jimmy.
Definitely. I mean, the racing is where it's at, and hopefully we'll get that in the real life events going on this weekend as well.
Oh, no, come on. We're on Fox Sports. You're not going to get yourself quick commercial. They literally one time did 5 minutes worth of commercials, did bum ba bum ba da bum bum, and then it literally went straight back to commercial again.
Well, that's American broadcasting, I think, for you in that case. But I'll be watching anyway.
You know how much money they're going to make in the Super Bowl for every 30-second commercial next week?
More money than I'm probably ever going to make in my life.
$5 million.
Yeah, that's right. Okay, fine.
$5 million. I would love $5 million. I can just imagine. I mean, that is TV broadcasting at its very best. So we can see, well, one or two drivers just weaving, getting their tyres warmed up. Single file restart, which means the rules for restarts are as follows. Unless you are the driver in P2, you can pass the car on the outside. You cannot pass the car on the inside, going in towards turn number 1. It'd be interesting to know how many people are familiar with these restart rules, because at the moment, there's not many people moving that car to the outside. Lights are off in the pace car. We are back to green, and they had to hover at the front. We had one driver use the high side fantastically, but into one there. We almost had a repeat of the race start, Jimmy.
It did indeed. And just looking at, I think, Van Ram going up the inside of Brian Dole, trying to anyway, just grabbing. See, just the traction on that top end of the oval there being fantastic for Brian, getting the kickoff, and away he goes. I've noticed that Connery Maddock really lost out in the pit stops. He's down now in 10th position.
Yeah, as we can see, 3-4 wide in towards turn. That was almost 5 there in towards turn 3 and 4. We actually have 1, 2, 3. I'm going to call that easily 4.
At 4, check Jimmy's right. Okay, so 5 for Will, 4 for Jimmy. Jimmy's correct at the moment. Let's see if we get 5 this race.
That's fantastic. We saw 4 wide and they all survived it. Everyone playing nicely, but with a little bit of aggression at this stage. On board then with Connery Matnick, and so far this race he is down 8 positions. It's not been that good. Here we are then, down through turn number 3 and 4. They will come again. Car moving all the way up the racetrack. That is Maddock. He's lost himself 2 positions as a consequence. And if you overshoot the corner, Jimmy, it's a case of just trying to survive. I mean, you're not going to go immediately at these speeds into the safer barrier on the outside of the track, but you are going to end up having to slow it right down to get that car turned properly.
End up having 2 voices. Oh, sorry, I think that's who was that? Sorry, half spun and again spinning around in the what car was that? I missed the name. Sorry, but it's one of the pink cars. Might have been De Verde. I think it might have been him. Yes, it was him. Very much out of shape going into turn 1. He's a lap down, trying to get away with the leaders, but nearly took some with him. Back to your point about going out wide, the racing driver in you wants to keep your foot in the throttle. You want to be going as quick as you can, and as I say that, caution. And
that is Mike Tippery there. 22nd position. He's looped it there at the back end of the racetrack, and he used the part of the road course to get himself back onto track. Let's get ourselves a quick replay of that.
I say I wasn't quite sure where he was there. I saw him sort of just on the out in the middle of nowhere. But yeah, there is a road course here as well, and Mike Tippery exploring it a little bit.
Well, this is, in my opinion, my favourite road course. It's not the greatest, but it's my favourite because I actually have the road course go outside of the oval rather than all the other ones, which are based pretty much inside.
It's almost quite imaginative, really, like because it's about really utilising space when you build these road courses. And oh well, we'll stick it outside and we'll deal with it later on.
Yeah, it almost sounds like they need a bit of strategic planning, but you know, I don't do that as a profession. I can't comment at all. Having a look then, Atenides on pit road. A couple of people on pit road, a couple of people staying out. This is going to be interesting later on in the event here. As we can see, Atenides is in. Duran Turan is on pit road as well. Is that Rob Adams on pit road? Indeed it is as well. So about 5-6 drivers there pitting this time.
And Brian Dell still staying out. He did so in the first pit stop, does again in the second one, still leading this race from Colin Van Ram. Just watching Rob Adams coming out now, so he's got his pit stop underway and done with. I'm not really sure of the fuel size or the fuel tank on these things, but I know they do go for a while. But I don't think the fuel is the issue here. It's the tyre around here. They take the right front takes a beating, and
that's always the case in these type of ovals. As these drivers then, they're going to have themselves one more lap, and then they will come back to green flag racing. We're going to take the time to take your RaceSpotTV side by side again. We'll be back with more after this. Hello, welcome back. Don't forget, of course, this is a new series which takes place every last Saturday of the month. Lights are off on topoftheiron.com. First safety car. We're just talking off air, Jim, with some fantastic tracks that we're going to. We're going to the USA, we're going to Gateway, we're going to the Milwaukee Mile, which I'll come back to in a moment's time, because that's probably the most similar track to this. There we are. Sorry there, we just had ourselves a brief moment. But yeah, some fascinating racetracks that we're going to as we're almost back to green.
Almost, as they sort of line up now, you see Brian Dole just keeping the pace car in his peripheral vision to the right there. If you have triple screens, I'm sure he would love had that luxury and to see that nice gold liveried pace car there. As he comes around the last corner, just getting ready now to restart, if Colin Van Ram closing the gap a little bit, and green flag coming up.
Let's ride on board with Logan Campit for this restart. Number 22 car. Coming now, out of 4. Wait a moment. Now you can go back to green flag racing, and they're side by side in the battle for the race lead, and the caution out immediately. Oh, big trouble there on the restart.
Just seen a couple of cars just stranded on the front stretch there. That's the car right on the inside wall. I'm not quite sure who that is. Let's see if we can get who that is. That is Patrick Post. Let's see what happened to him.
Yeah, let's get ourselves in a second look, and you can see 3 drivers involved in that one. And number 7 machine involved. You've got a driver going backwards. Number 1 car of Will Fisher involved in that one. 4 or 5 drivers involved. Number 311 machine, Tony Schoen involved. You're literally having to wait. Number 23 machine, having to wait there, Jimmy, to try and actually see the car number as they work themselves past. But let's get ourselves another look then from our aerial coverage in slow time to see how this happened.
We'll see what happened there. Is it was just a matter of Brian Dole. He controlled the pace. He controlled the restart. Some people went behind him. They sort of had to brake, and that was just an effect, domino effect. Went down the field. Someone else came flying back. No one was moving, and nowhere to go apart from the back of the car.
It was the number 7 machine who first hit the number 28 car that started this whole chain reaction. There you can see Patrick Post. Want to have a look then from this situation. Patrick Post, we've now seen it was number 7 and number 28 car of Zabrix Verher involved in that one. So let's have a look on board. Coming down. Oh, he wasn't paying any attention there. I'm sorry. He was paying absolutely no... Everyone else had slowed. He was on the noisy pedal, and he wasn't paying attention to the guys ahead of him checking up. Comes back to what you were saying at the very top of this broadcast, Jimmy.
It's you need to be looking at the guys at the front, as we said. You need to be looking what's happening at the front of the field. See when they go, then you can go. Then get on the noisy pedal, which you call it. I like that phrase, actually. I might start using it. But he didn't. It's very easy for your mind to wander during cautions, I must admit, especially in the longer tracks such as Indianapolis or Daytona. I find myself almost falling asleep when I'm doing that sort of thing. But around here, it's a short lap, no excuse for that. Keep your eyes open.
We have one car coming on towards pit road. That is a car on the lead lap. Yeah, it's Colin Van Ram. There we are, Colin Van Ram then on towards pit road. And some of these guys are just taking fuel and tyres and topping up, because they're counting backwards, Jimmy. And overall racing is always about counting backwards. In some ways, it's the same as the endurance racing. You've got to make sure that you've got fuel at the end, and to do that, you need to make sure that you can always count yourself backwards, pit stop-wise, tyre-wise, to be in the best position to pounce like Duell's done at the start of this race if you need to later on.
I do wonder how this is going to pan out, because I think quite a few of the leaders have come in. Anthony Leaders came in twice, actually. We noticed that during the break. I'm not sure if we have maybe another penalty to serve or something. Probably speeding on the pits on the penalty. We've seen that a couple of times. But it could end up that even though Duell has been leading for the majority of this race and caution period, then it might end up sort of losing out at the end with not having the right tyres or right fuel.
Lap leader so far. Brian Duell has left 13. Connery Maddock 15. 2 laps for the driver of Will Fisher. Those lights are going to go off on top of the Eisen.com at first safety car as they cross the start finish line. And that is a look from on board then with the driver of Duell. He's up 6 positions. One other strategy that he might be doing, Jimmy, is the I'm safer here than you are in the middle of the pack.
Well, it's proved correct so far. I mean, anyone would love to be at the front. It means you can control the pace and just sort of take things in your stride. Being in the midst of 4 or 5 cars wide, we saw almost 5 wide coming through turn 3 a little bit earlier on, and being in the middle of that is it's quite scary, frankly. And being at the front, you haven't got to deal with that.
Yep, and there we can see on your screen that graphics showing basically Brian Duell has been everywhere from P6 to P1 in this race so far. Well, don't forget, still, we've got ourselves Sunday Night Skippies tomorrow here on RaceSpotTV, streaming live also on iRacing Live. Many of the same characters you see on Saturday night will be running on Sunday night also. So check it out. 9 PM GMT on RaceSpot and on iRacing Live, a part of RaceSpot Primetime. Here we are then, green flag back in the air.
Nice and good start there from Clampett, just on the back of Duell straight away, looking up the inside, trying to get that move made nice and early, trying to get in front, maybe to foresee another caution, we aren't sure. Cars 2-3 wide, a bit further down. I think that was Fraser Williamson and Jan Hoffman. Yes, it is. And they're just navigating very nicely around there. The very brightly coloured Benetton car in the background there, who managed to actually is that Williamson? Who had our high jump award earlier? He's up into 6th place.
Wow, fantastic! 3 wide then as they come down through your pack right now. These guys at the rear part, we feel, doing themselves a sterling job. But yeah, there is Fraser Williamson. Strategy working well for him. Got that car going again. Scottish driver up into P number 6 for the time being, as they are very busy. But we've got ourselves a breakaway from half your pack to the other. Top 8 breaking away. Then we've got ourselves a very busy middle pack in a car. Losing it there. 2 cars almost losing it. They do just about survive.
That was a 37 there, Tuan Tran. Very, very difficult there mid-corner. He was in the middle lane and just started to drift it and somehow managed to avoid the cars around him despite going about 30 degrees in both directions. So good job there, Tran.
Yeah, as you can see, he's been all over the place. He's been, in terms of where he's been on the field, he's been as high as P3, as low as P number 23. So he's having to now remove himself all the way through the field. And, well, going to be a tough old race now for Tram. But yeah, 7 cars are broken away. We've got ourselves a Wiggler again. I think that's going to be our phase. It's called the Wiggler. And that's like the Frita again, who's been wiggling that car in the rear part of the field. It is, and the Frita. We always talk about this in oval racing. Now, if you're a lap down, there's no obligation to move out the way. But the Frita's car does look to be very, very nervous right now.
Maybe while the setup is basic on these cars, you can make it so they're a lot more nervous. You can have a very stiff anti-roll bar at the rear. You can have a rearward-facing brake bar so we can help you turn into the corners. But I've seen him most definitely the sideways out of almost everyone so far. Almost contacts actually one of the cars above him. That's very close. So yeah, no obligation to get out of the way, but yeah.
Obligation to race sensibly.
Yeah, I think that would be the way to put it.
As we can see there, 3 wide, almost in towards turn 1. 36 of 100 we scored complete as they come past the start finish line again. Going to ride on board with Tyler Sutton as he comes now down in towards turn number 1. And again, these guys are looking at the high line.
It's given us a nice view into this race here, the battle for the lead, and maybe as the tyres are wearing, the high lines is a bit better for them, unsure at this point, but it seems that people are moving upwards, as you say, and it's working for them, so why not?
Coming down in towards turn number 3, just having a look through in your pack. It looks as though that we've got ourselves Fisher and Elliott Smith battling it out with Mike Sprangler right now. And there was a gap from pack 1 to pack 2 a moment ago. That's actually come back down to 1 second as it seems. So it could well be that if these guys out front continue to battle very hard, and we end up with what we're going to call the mega pack, which will involve pretty much your top 10 drivers.
Well, I think the reason for that is I just saw Connery Maddock coming out of turn 3 and 4. A massive drift, nearly actually had contact with Tyler Sutton. And had to get out of the throttle and sort of backed up the cars behind him, and that's brought everyone together again. So all it takes is someone to have a little bit of a slide and these cars all come together for the quote-unquote mega pack, which I think would be fantastic to see because it means we get better racing.
Yeah, and it's a car which is inspired by an early 2000 Arrows Connery Maddock, number 42 machine, coming down there. You can see he, of course, was at the front of the field early. He's led 15 laps, but he fell away down to about P number 10 at one point. He's worked himself back through the field just a little bit into that 5th place. So he's a driver that's clearly got the talent to run up front. Has got a bit of a bent rear wing, however.
He has been in the pits once already, so he does have that advantage over Brian Duell at least there. So, so there's contact at the front there with Clampett and Duell. I think they just nudged each other. Not a big hit, but looks like we're going to have a change for a lead now.
We're going to go 4 wide. That's what we're going to do as they come down in towards turn number 1. 4 wide, and they're all in the right-hand side of the racetrack there. And they go and survive it in the end, but now we've got Clampett strapping out a Duell, and they were pretty much both in lane number 1 now. As we head ourselves down the back straight away, this pack has really branched up together. We're going to have a case of threading the needle. Here comes Clampett down the inside, not able to go to the front, but that car on the inside line of Tyler Sutton got himself a bit of the yellow line there, and that really does upset the handling of your race car.
A lapped car here coming into play heavily at the moment, blocking in. I think that's Brian Duell, yes it is, and Clampett just making the best of that and trying to keep his line and keep the lead at the moment, but that car is really getting in the way.
You know who that is, don't you?
I do indeed, yes, it's our it's our biggest wiggler so far, but I'm not quite sure why he hasn't got out of the way yet, but like I said, no obligation to do so, but at this point he is disturbing the race for the lead.
Yeah, indeed so, as we'll get ourselves a look as they head themselves out of corner number 4, down towards turn number 1 again. Aerial coverage today is brought to you by And1 Design, the official graphics partner of RaceSpotTV and One Design, with our aerial coverage there today. Down in your pack a little bit, and well, they've closed it. They have closed it a little bit, and now there's like, well, we can see the front, let's go running too wide again, and that is exactly what they're doing. Felipe Burr has got himself a gap over Jan Hoffman, but Will Fisher and Zabix Froher are side by side in toward turn number 3. They will come, and well, the front pack is crazy. The mid and the rear pack is much more subdued right now.
Well, maybe because having that big first place sort of dangling in front of people, it does strange things to a man, and you know you see a lot of people just really wanting to lead a lap, not even wanting to win sometimes. So these guys sort of playing a long game. They know there's a long time left. You know, we could see more caution. We've seen some already as the Vaha nearly has contact with Will Fisher. No, sorry, not Will Fisher. Elliott Smith. He's already been in trouble once this time at number 7 machine. So he needs to try and keep it out of another car again.
Yeah, and Elliott Smith now 2.7 seconds behind your race leader. Smith hasn't led any laps here today. Out front, it's still crazy as they come down 2 by 2 by 3, and you know what? That's a perfect segue. Are you ready, Jimmy?
Let's do it.
Coming soon here on RaceSpotTV and on iRacing Live. Oh no, trouble on the racetrack! That could have been the big one there. We'll stop that. They're still drifting as they come through turn number 3, and that is the driver of Tyler Sutton, and it looks as though he could be out of the race, Jimmy.
He seems to have damage. He's pulled straight into the pits from that. I think that was Clampett he hit, even Duell, sorry.
Awesome.
And here is the yellow flag now. Did very well to keep that from spinning, but the flag comes out regardless. Was there something else that happened behind?
There was something else that involved the number 7 machine. We're going to get ourselves a couple of looks back then. We start with the driver of Sutton. Let's have a look then with him. And you see immediately he pulls that car off of the racetrack. And then we need to go and have a look at the number 7 machine of Fairhays. Been in the walls already today, don't forget, on the restart before last. And then as they come through turn number 3, let's see. That one wasn't his fault. It was another 23 car that was losing it. He had nowhere to go. And then the number 7 machine getting basically passed around like a ping pong through turn number 4. My only thing I've noticed so far is these drivers, once they've actually had their quote-unquote incident, they need to, it's like on a road course, we always say, you always got to be careful on how you rejoin. Same applies on an oval, because that time, number 7 machine could have been a little bit more courteous in allowing a couple of people to basically take their preferred line into the corner.
Yeah, I'm just watching Faher there as he came down, and whilst he is free from blame from the accident himself, it's a case of just locking your brakes, taking a look around you. I mean, we have the luxury of the relative screen in iRacing. Check that, see what's around you, and then get back on the course. If you pull on blindly, chances are you're going to take someone out and sort of ruin their race as well. So, not free from blame entirely here, that number 7 machine.
Let's see who's going to be the first out of pit road then, as we're going to have a look on board with the 42 machine. And well, that was very close. 42 machine there of Conley Maddock, who classified in P10 when all is said and done. But actually, no, he did get 1 or 2 of those spots. A lot of people didn't pit that time by. Your first driver to have pitted was a number 50 machine of Mike Springer. So a lot of drivers stayed out there. Would like to know who they are, Jimmy.
Yeah, I'm just seeing. I think Duell stayed out again. He's been out.
No, he has just pitted.
Oh no, sorry, apologies. I was just watching him. I always come up on traffic now. I wasn't actually looking at who pitted and who didn't there. Let's see who's at the front of the field.
We've got ourselves
Fraser Williams at the front. We've got the number 48 being the lead at the moment in that very brightly coloured Benetton car. He's taken advantage of people pitting to take the lead for now, warming those tyres on the waiting for the caution to expire. And this might be a good move. I mean, but I haven't seen if this 48 is pitted so fast. Maybe he's already got his stops done. Maybe it's what you were saying earlier about counting backwards. He's gone, okay, right now, here's my chance to be in the lead. Here's my chance to sort of lead from the front and see how far I can get.
He's had one pit stop for 12.1 seconds. Everyone who has actually not pitted this time has pitted at some point in the race. Osman, 12.1 seconds. Pit stop is his only stop. Rob Adams didn't pit. Patrick Post, Tony Shoham, Tran, Mike Springer was the first driver to have pitted. As we've got ourselves then drivers then making pit stops who are classified as one lap down. I got confused there. I saw the Old Spice and I started thinking of Old Spice commercials because we're in Super Bowl season.
Very easy to happen to anyone. I was just looking at the standings and seeing that Patrick Post, who had a spin earlier, and that's one of the people we checked out, made his way back up to third place, which just goes to show how close the racing is here and how easy it is to get back into the fray. I thought it would be a case of, you have an instant, you go in the pits, that's your race over, but because of his cautions, because of the way the racing is here, those who have had early instances have been given sort of second or maybe even third chances, such as Rob Adams as well. I mean, he qualified very poorly after a strong practice, and he's found himself up into second place at the moment.
The difference between this kind of racing and NASCAR racing at this track is it's much easier to work your way through a field. The NASCAR Sprint Cup Series, when it heads itself here, it's very, very hard to make up places, and you've got to rely on strategy, you've got to rely on keeping that right tyre clear. An IndyCar, it was similar. You could get two-wide racing at the start of a run. It is more difficult as you progressed. Here, let's say three-wide racing is the order of the day, if you want to make it happen. Through turn 4. Here they are then. 48 laps of 100 are going to be scored complete. There you can see the yellow flag. Pace car is in. We go back to green flag racing then. 48 of 100 scored complete as they come down into 1 once again. And this time, better restart by everyone.
Yeah, Sebastian Hoosman got away very quickly there at the start. Didn't really wait, didn't bunch him up, just went straight away, got the throttle on, and got going straight away. Maybe he was someone who was a victim at the last restart, so didn't want to bestow that on anyone else. But Rob Adams bearing with him, with Patrick Post has to look up the inside now, coming into turn 3. Very late on the brakes. Patrick Post actually nudges Rob Adams out to the outside, does very well to keep back that ball, but comes back down, almost touched. I think that was Tony Shoham there. Yeah, no, it wasn't. Sorry. And if you go back to Tourtoine, there was 3 or 4 cars touching each other there at once. This is actually a very hectic restart.
Yeah, they were 4 wide again there, in towards turn number 1. We're just zooming in and having a look. And Rob Reed there has just been tagged from the rear. Rob Adams even. He's running himself in the number 27 machine. Number 3 machine and Brian Duell right behind him. They're trying the old bump and runs there, the NASCAR style. They were told not to, but a couple of these drivers have, shall we say, been a little bit aggressive.
Yeah, I mean, you can see just the spoiler there of Rob Adams showing the spoils of war, if you excuse the pun. But it's not going to have much of an effect around here. These cars don't rely too heavily on aero, although the draft is quite strong. But hopefully we'll see that sort of behaviour, sorted out for the next race. If it is a matter of there are no bump drafts here, it's there for a reason. You've seen people sort of go off, so hopefully that'll be sorted out in time for the next race.
Which report will be in a month's time as the drivers head themselves to USA Speedway. Let's have a look then, as we've got ourselves a nice little 2x2 battle as they head themselves down in towards 3 and 4. On board with Fraser Williamson. He's looking to try and thread the needle right now. That middle line works fantastically well, as you can see there. Williamson has got himself Felipe Byrne is inside, and the Trouble 7 machine out of corner number 4 they come, down towards turn number 1.
To lap 52 now of 100, I believe it is, and they are 3 wide and very nearly drifting up into, I think that was, no, sorry, it was, well, no, it was Tourtoine. I'm getting my names mixed up here. But it's very easy to do that when you go 3 wide here. These cars are very slippery in the corners, especially when they've been running for a while. There's a car slow on the inside there. Is that a pit stop?
That's the Benetton car.
That is Bastian Huisman. Yeah. That is our leader.
Coming on towards pit road, under green.
Was there any sort of issue there? Let's have a look.
I've not seen anything for Hoffman, but he's coming on towards pit road.
Oh, there it is. He comes out of turn 2 and just tags the wall on the outside. So easy to do. He realises straight away he's got suspension damage, comes into the pits, gets out of everyone's way. Actually, very sensible driving them for that number 48 machine. But
his day in terms of the race win potentially is going to be done out front. Well, it's back to the race lead there, and that guy has been up and down through the field. He pitted. This guy is clearly the guy to beat today.
I mean, I said it in the last race, it doesn't matter where you are during the race, it matters where you are at the end, and Duell making sure he's always at the hot end of the grid despite having that, and he just grazes the wall there with his right rear tyre. Mike Springer, just about avoids him coming in there. Patrick Post still looking very fighty as Tony Schoen goes up very wide, tries to get an overtake done, but very easy to understeer up there if you aren't careful.
Indeed so. There is Ryan Duell then, as they work themselves still in this huge pack. We've got a couple of more bits of lap traffic, and if I remember correctly, that's Bastian Hossmann trying to stay on the lead lap. They've come in, hit that car a couple of times with a hammer, giving it back to him, say off you go, try and sort it out, and trouble there, spin 2 drivers, and that's going to be the big one. Caution is out.
Let's try and find who that was on my little grid here.
It started with a Connery Maddock in the number 42. Arrows machine. Replay is up, but Jimmy, that was crazy.
Just looking through now though, seeing Maddock had an issue. I'm trying to find it now. I'm trying to find it on my end. There it is. Okay, it looks like there was a spin above Maddock. They both sort of went tandem drifting. No, just tagged the car in front of him. Car went round. He then got flung back up into the high lane. Cars everywhere. Some people have nowhere to go apart from the car in front of them, and that is the danger of oval racing.
Yep, there we are. Super slow-mo replay. But then we'll just speed it up a little bit, and you can see from there, well, Fraser Williamson's been involved in his second incident of the day. That's pretty much him going to be done now. That's a consequence. We've got a number of names who were running at the front of the field, now not in the best of positions, shall we say. 56 laps of 100 are scored complete here. There are your top 8. Schoen from Duell, from Barber, from Maddock, Post, Fisher, Adams, and Tran. As guys will come on towards pit road once again, getting close now to 2/3 distance. And Felipe Barber didn't come on towards pit road there. Brian Duell also didn't come on towards pit road. So Duell's only done 1 stop here today.
Well, it's worked for him so far, the amount of cautions we've had. The Maddock in again, possibly with some sort of damage from that incident. Wouldn't be surprised there, that did happen. Looks like Tony Schoen's going to lose out quite big time here. I mean, I think he sort of got shuffled to the front of the field with his cautions and now is back down again, but Duell finds himself again behind that iRacing safety car, so exactly where he wants to be.
Yeah, number 42 machine there, I think just led everyone off pit road. Will Fisher actually just beat them out. No, Maddock was first on pit road, then it was Fisher, Len Clampett. We're going to step aside. We will be back in just 1 moment's time. Never miss a moment with RaceSpotTV side by side, and while you just saw Brian Doyle coming on towards pit road as we're about to go 1 to green. So, Barber now leads this motor race, then Sesbeck's Freya, then Fahim Hatanides, Andres Elk, Colin Van Ram. They are your top 5. Brian Doyle is the last driver on the lead lap. P number 22 right now. Philippe Barber has just led this first lap of this event. We'll have a look from the rear of him then as they come out of turn number 4. Pace car goes back down on towards pit road. Green flag once again, Jimmy.
Fantastic start from Barber, off straight away as he should be, just making sure he gets that jump from Fejo behind him, who has been involved in some incidents, maybe that playing on his mind. Antonides finally finding his way back up to the grid, up into 3rd place now. He's in from Andreas Ig behind him, who's having a little bit of a scrap there with, I think that's our lapped car again. Still getting in the fray. They seem to think they've had the most camera time so far, actually, has De Vries.
Yeah, there is a number 45. And, well, there we are. He's still going, which is a good thing. Not causing too many incidents. In fact, he's not actually caused any real incident at all in this race. We've been talking about that. Of course, yeah, Duell was getting a little bit frustrated when he was behind him. But to give De Vries credit, he's not really done anything that will be classified as malicious, other than what we had the wiggles a little bit earlier on.
Exactly, and that's a very fair point. The wiggles are something that's can be scary for other drivers though, and in that case, if you are sort of leading and you see a lapped car in front of you, not really having a bit of an issue going through the corner, you do sort of take a step back, and it does affect your judgment slightly. But no crashes as of yet. Hopefully, it will stay that way.
Further up for your field, well, we've got ourselves drivers all going to scrap it together then as they head themselves down towards 1 once again. That is Connery Maddock, Will Fisher, Logan Crumpet there as they head themselves now through turn number 1 on board with the driver of Connery Maddock. And there's the number 1 machine right behind them, Will Fisher, as they work themselves now out of 2 down the back straightaway.
It's the line of stern there coming down the back straight. And let's see what the tactics coming into turn 3 here. Will Fisher going low, see if he can get the move down on Maddock up the top there. Like sort of struggling down the bottom. It seems to be all good so far coming up the corner. And that's where the traction is in this track. You have to make sure you're up high for the traction. It's a shorter way down the bottom, but not necessarily the fastest.
Yep. Further down, Jan Hoffman, Bastian Huisman are scrapping it out. 3 wide right behind him as well. That is Tran and Tyler Sutton. Now Sutton's never really recovered from those half spins that he had at the start of this event. He's fallen down to P number 15 here, Jimmy. And, well, he's down 5 from where he started as he almost then makes contact with the number 37 machine of Tran.
Yeah, tandem drifting with the number 11 behind him there. That's Greg Seltz. But that's how it can be. You can sort of get into a mindset in races. If you have a bad start, it sort of carries over. And although it's a sim racing, we say it's as close as we can get to the real thing. I think that's Tran, yes, has a big slide there. Almost comes down to Tyler Sutton. And that would have really ended off his day, wouldn't it?
That would have been horrible. Just having a look right now, by the way. And as far as the time expired goes, we've got 35-ish minutes left of this event to do 35 laps. So at this stage, we're okay. Any more cautions? If we had 2 more cautions, then we are going to have to start looking at the time left in the race as well.
A little bit like wet race at Monaco.
Yes.
Not quite as glamorous, but same sort of thing as Huisman sort of makes his way up in the high line. Very high line from Huisman there. I've not seen anyone go that high yet. Also, he was our previous race leader into running into the barrier as he is mobbed down the back straight. Oh, 3 wide, yeah, 3 wide now on the back straight.
4 wide, technically, for a second there. That was very, very close there between these 5 drivers of Post, Huisman, Williamson, and sorry, I would say Huisman and Hoffman. They're in the same battle. But these guys, it is so close what's going on with them right now. Look at that! 4 wide, 5 wide in contact!
It was inevitable. They were trying to squeeze each other out there. And guess who it was? It was Tyler Sutton who came out the loser there. And he is out. Looks like he's out of his race. He's towed to the pit lane there. There was enough space for those cars, but they all seem to come together, and as a result, another caution.
Yeah, in super slow-mo. Well, we went 4 wide for a minute, technically. But what happened then is, you're right, we've seen this before as well, Jimmy. The last time we had these many cars, they all seem to be bundled on one side of the racetrack. I don't understand that. I mean, if you ever see Pocono, we've seen them go at least 7 wide at Pocono in IndyCar, and they use all of the racetrack. And of course, then we had a secondary incident, number 50 machine and Mike Springer, where that car flipped over the pit wall, and that was a horrible accident.
It's a quick way to get back to your pit team, but in this case it isn't going to help Mike one bit. And he was definitely an unfortunate loser there, just sort of minding his own business and being taken out by a car having an accident all on his own. So very bad luck from Mike Springer there. He was actually in the pits last time around. I think he actually lost a lap or was very close to losing a lap, so the race hasn't gone his way either.
He did lose a lap, I remember you telling me. I remember going, oh no. 1/3 of the race to go. A caution lap here takes a minute, so we're okay on time for the time being. But if you are some of these drivers, are you now starting to think it's better to stay out on track than it is to go into pit road and top off because you want to be in the right place in case there are cautions at the end of this event?
I think so. I mean, we're seeing the same sort of names at the top of the field still. You know, these are the people who are sort of thinking of the long game. You know, they've got one hand on the wheel and one hand counting out how many laps they've got left of fuel. And at the moment, we've got Fahir at the front. He's been involved in a couple of instances, actually. He's very aggressive into the corners, but seems to somehow make it stick most of the time. Antonides, he's in 3rd place. He started 2nd, so he's actually down a place on the start with Labour, who actually started 3rd in 2nd. So they sort of switched over then from their starting positions, but they're still pretty much where they should be, with Fisher in 4th place in his starting position.
You know, we were doing a segue earlier, and I had to stop it because they almost all end up crashing into each other.
Do the segue, Will.
Here we are. Ladies and gentlemen, coming your way on February 20th, 2016. It is the 2016 iRacing Daytona 500-mile race. Join all the gang here on RaceSpotTV as we bring you the first big oval race of the year. It's an iRacing special event, and it's also streaming live on iRacing Live. Boogity. I think, Jimmy, are you alive?
I'm still alive. I'm still here in the background. So I was so dazzled by the segue that I had to take a step back and reevaluate my life for a second. But
okay.
It's in my diary now.
Okay. Yeah, it is streaming live also on iRacing Live, ladies and gentlemen. Don't forget, we are your home of the 2016 NASCAR Peak Antifreeze Series, powered by iRacing.com. Lots of big announcements still to come up about that one. As it stands, there's your top 8, bottom of your screen. Fairhair from Labour, from Antonides, Fisher, Clampett, Maddock, Ram, and Post. Antonides is one of these drivers who's had to come back for the field so many times that at this stage of the event, he's got to start thinking of being your favourite.
Yeah, I mean, I remember watching him, I think it was in what is it, Friday Night Skippies, I think it must have been,
Sunday.
Sorry. Monday Night Skippies, there you go, my mind is everywhere. And watching Antonides in that race, he was very conservative until it got to sort of crunch time when he really sort of, put his foot down and got involved. In this situation, he's only got 2 cars in front of him. And he's already shown that he's quick in qualifying, so I don't see why not. I don't see why this couldn't be his race, although at the same time we have Connery Maddock and Logan Clampett still in contention. And our previous leader, Bastian Huisman as well, he's only down in 9th place, and 9th isn't too far back.
It's not. There's number 48 machine. As he's not on your screen in terms of the standings, but he will be a factor, we think, in this event. Let's then have a look towards the front of your field once again as they all get ready to come back. There'll be 30 to go. This race could be done in a matter of 15 minutes from here on in. It could take a little bit longer. It's okay. We're not going anywhere here on RaceSpotTV and on iRacing Live. Pace car is off. Green flag back in the air. We go back to racing as the pack is a little bit staggered now. Down in towards turn 1. 2 wide, 2 deep. P3 through P number 6, Jimmy.
What a start from Will Fisher. He came back from, I think he was down in 5th or 4th place there and just overtook. That was Logan Clampett and one of the lap cars, so he's right up behind Philip Labour. I think it was Antonides actually got caught napping at the start there, and he's going now challenging up for 2nd place. He's going now, he's saying, right, okay, this is the time to get in the front of the pack and get up a lead, and saying that, caution.
And that's Bastian Heusmann there. We were talking about the fact that he could well have still been a factor in this event. I don't think so. Not anymore with the way that car is driving. Number 58 machine as well. Let's get ourselves another look.
I think he was involved with posts there somewhere. Let's have a look.
Oh!
Post goes up top, hits the wall, does what actually, ironically, Huisman does earlier. He's then tagged by, I'm not sure who that was, who tagged him there, and he goes off and hits the infield, and you can see that car is now crabbing severely. Yeah,
that is Fraser Williamson, who was involved in the incident. The secondary part of that incident all started as a solo car incident, though, with Post, and there's a look then with Bastian Heusmann. Once you get yourself onto the grass, it's going to be very, very difficult to slow that car down. And there is an Armco barrier looming. Actually, a little bit similar to the point that Tony Kanaan went off at the start of the 2011 IndyCar race. And actually, a funny story. He ended up hitting someone in a porta potty. The porta potty, literally, is what he hit.
It's a fantastic memory you've got there, Will.
I've got loads of random stuff. Of course, 2011 New Hampshire race, probably one of the most famous in recent IndyCar history, from Brian Barnhart deciding it was a good idea to let the cars restart in the wet.
Oh, okay. Well, yeah, I'm not the biggest oval fan in the world, admittedly. It's not. I'm more of a road racer, but even I know that's not something you can do in oval.
No. But yeah, 2011 they came here for the MoveThatBlock.com 225, and I had Move That Block was designed to be a version of Gumtree, and I don't know if it still exists. In fact, I'm going to check it out right now.
Oh, whilst Will's doing that, I'm just looking at Fraser Williamson. I'm just thinking he's really been in the war today. He's been literally the highest car on the circuit. I think he was at one point our blimp camera before he came back down again. And again, involved in another incident this time that saw the end of Huisman, so see if he survives.
The website does still exist. They don't have much on there, though, by the looks of it. I'm trying to look for a car, and they don't have much at all. I'm confused.
You're probably going to find Huisman trying to sell some Skippy parts in there very shortly.
That car has been in the wars, and they can see him on pit road as we speak right now. One other driver coming down pit road at the time. In fact, you know, this is how badly damaged that car is. We can see Heusmann right now. That car, they put themselves a new wing on it, but we can actually see his hand through the damage.
That's a Hulk way of keeping the hand there. I mean, you know your car's bent when you can see, when you can see that. It's like when you have a crash in the Indy car and you see your front wheels are about a metre above the cockpit. It's like, okay, that's definitely broken. I better put that in now.
Tony Schoen then also coming on towards pit road. 25 laps to go when we go back to green flag racing. We are going to take ourselves another one of those 20-second breathers. We like Mazda. Mazda like us. Side by side. Hit it! Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. You should hear the things that we talk about when we're off there. Actually, you did once, oops. But in the meanwhile, we've got ourselves these guys ready to go back to green flag racing. We have ourselves 18 drivers on the lead up. The last one of those is that driver at the he's kind of most of the way down at the back. It's Tony Schoen. There we are. 311 machine. There is
just
double
back to the pack.
He's actually back of the pack there. Restart rules will change with 10 to go. We'll talk about that one once the cars come back to green flag, which they're going to do right now.
And again, another good start there from Fair, just getting on the throttle very quickly and getting that to get the jump on Will Fisher, who's obviously very punchy. We saw him come from, I think it was fourth or fifth place up to second before the caution came out again. Elliott Smith getting on the radio there. Hopefully no contact again. We want to see some green running laps now as Logan Clampett and Philip Labert side by side. Clampett taking the place up into third, with Lambert falling down a little bit there and getting into a big drift but keeping it under control. And you don't really lose much speed with the drifts.
No, you don't. Oh, caution back out there, and that's Patrick Post in the number 28 machine. And that car has had himself an engine failure as a consequence. Now we need to start thinking about time.
We do. We don't have a long time. I think we have about 20 minutes or so left now of this race. Still quite a fair few laps left to run. And this is playing into the hands of the people at the front of the field, those who are waiting, those who have just sort of been staying out. But it's still all to play for, even with only 20 minutes to go.
Yeah, as we've just lost ourselves. There was a replay there of Patrick Post. We are going to go back to live coverage because that is what you want to see. Patrick Post now coming on towards pit road in that number 17 machine, but at the front of your field there is Zabalix Fairhair. He is leading the way right now, and that is what you need to pay attention to. 77 of 100 scored complete. Now, if I remember correctly, it's an 85-minute race, and we're close to, what, 65 minutes? In fact, I'm trying to do the math here. We've just gone over an hour, if I remember correctly. So, as it stands, we might just make it. One of the things that's worth talking about as well here, Jimmy, so far in this event, we restart rules, it's single file restarts, which means that the drivers who are a lap, quote-unquote, down, they can start in line, in the pacing line, wherever they are. And, of course, the most famous one of those has been Arjen de Vries. If, however, you get to tend to go and there's a caution, drivers have to then go, if they're a lap down, to the rear of the field. They are not allowed to be in the pacing line wherever they are placed at the point of the caution.
It just means that we get some nice competitive racing up front. We have seen lapped cars not interfering but sort of racing with lead drivers here, and if we're coming into the last 10 laps, as you say, you don't want to be seeing that. You want to see these guys duke it out, and that's why that rule exists.
And ladies and gentlemen, no one's coming on towards pit road this time, Brian. That means we'll be back in just one quick moment.
Simulated racing can be awesome, but it can also be kind of a free-for-all. Interestingly, auto racing...
Welcome back. Simulated racing can be awesome. However, watching a green flag restart is probably more so. So we'll show you that one another time. I've just introduced Jimmy to the wonderfulness of Magnus Racing. Don't forget, it's a 24 hours at Daytona. That means it's time for Magnus Racing to make their return. Magnus Racing After Dark is the coolest thing you will watch all year. It is the funniest thing, especially once you start having the Hoff coming to town. You know what I mean if you've watched it. 20 laps to go then here at New Hampshire Motor Speedway. Green flag in the air, and here we go then. 2 wide, 2 deep already. It's go time, Jimmy.
And again, Fairhair getting away. Will Fisher's sort of starting to catch on those restarts and getting a good run next to him there. Philip Labert having to navigate the lapped car as Connery Maddock is getting a bit of a slipstream coming up the back straight now. The front 3 breaking away though, for now as it is, with Fairhair, Fisher, Clampett as your top 3. And seeing these cars drift through these corners, these tyres are cold. They've been going around the last couple of laps, and these are only road tyres. They take a while to warm up. And I think that was Fisher there just grazing the wall.
Oh, wow. Will Fisher, number 1 machine, he's on the outside lines. They come down towards turn number 1. Let's hope that car, well, the suspension's okay for the time being. These, of course, are not concrete walls here anymore. They are safer barriers. I should know what a safer barrier stands for, but they're not concrete walls. You can hit them kind of side on without any real issue. It's only when you hit it at an angle, then it's really bad. There's a wiggle there for the 22 of Logan Campett.
That was very well held by Logan there. He went straight up to the outside line as soon as he had the opportunity to. Almost actually squeezed Will Fisher while doing it, but managed to keep that under control, and is now right on the back of the gearbox of Will Fisher with that 45 lap car still coming into play, still there. As Connery and Maddock now comes up the inside of that 45 machine, with Fahey still holding the inside line. Look at the difference in drive between the outside line and inside line there.
Yeah, it's fantastic to watch, and we're now down into that phase of the race where you've got to be aggressive and you've got to know how to run your car both outside and inside. Free wide then for the moment, and they stop it for a second, but they're going to think about going free wide again as they come off the corner number 4 down towards turn number 1 again. Here are your top 8, bottom of your screen. It's Fisher from Clampett, from Fairhair from Maddock, Williamson, Labour, Ram and Zeitz as the car just had to go very high there through turn number 1. That was number 46 machine of Colin Van Ram, and he lost himself a position as a consequence there, Jimmy.
Side by side now with Greg Seats, so they go down into 3, and see how late Van was on the brakes. They're trying to make that take that speed through the high line, but he's done exactly the same thing. He's gone very wide. Now the drive's coming back to him, but he's still lost ground on Seats. At the top of the field though, Fraser Williamson is still in the mix. He's up into 5th place, and after seeing him high jump earlier, I would never have thought to see him up into the top 5, let alone still racing. And here they come again.
Well, there we are. This is fantastic battle. And of course, we've still got ourselves Iron DeFrita there in that main battle as well. You can actually see him, number 45 machine. If he can get clear
at the front,
he's going to now, he was trying to get himself back onto the lead lap. Here's the reason why. If he can do so,
contact, contact.
Oh, trouble there, and that is going to be the big one. That's the big one. Caution is out.
That was Fahey there that I think again involved in another incident. Didn't quite catch what happened as the car is upside down the back straight being battered around. I think that might have been Van Ram on the straight there. Whereas Maddock is still in the fray. Let's see what happened to Fahey.
Yeah, well, I know Philippe Labour was involved in it. We're going to roll the tape down the back straight away. We're going to show it from up above as they head themselves through corner number 3. Okay, it started with Fahey and Williamson. Fraser Williamson started this whole chain reaction as they head themselves now. And you can see that car of Fahey is just going to fall down the racetrack, clip the number 42 machine. And then he's going to catch the banking and he's going to push himself all the way back up. And that's where he's going to hit Philippe Labour. He's going to slide that car once again. Of course, we're looking at that driver the entire time. And from then on, well, it's a shame because Labour, that's his first big incident of the day. And then we have to change camera angles. We need to show you Colin Van Ram, who was involved in a secondary incident. You can see he's riding along the wall now. That's the number 3 machine of Brian Duell. He's just going to clip him as they head themselves out of the corner. There you can see. And that's when the number 46 car is going to turn upside down. That was the big one, Jimmy. That was the big one.
Tell you what, Van Ram's lucky the roll hoops are stronger than that. He spent a long time on the roof of that Skip Barber there as Brian Duell, he rejoins the race, I think, after repairing the damage sustained in that. He just, I think he clipped one of the drivers coming through, which is a shame for him. He was one of our contenders earlier on in the race, but that's taken a lot of the field into the pits, at least. Van Ram just coming out the pits now. I don't think he's quite lost a lap, but he's out of contention. And Labour also in the pits as well, just coming up behind Van Ram. He was fighting for the lead a couple of moments ago, and now he's at the back of the pack. Yeah,
Logan Clampett there now leads this motor race. 87 of 100 scored complete. And here's a fascinating thing. The Frita is still okay. He can still stay where he is. He will not be forced to the rear of the field just yet. It's only going to be if there's 10 to go when the caution comes out that rule applies.
It's funny enough, it just sort of shows that De Frita, he had pace. You know, he's been with the lead pack for pretty much the entire race. Been around there anyway, and whilst he's, you know, you could argue that he's been in the way, He's done nothing wrong. He's just racing his own race at the moment. He's a lap down, so he isn't in third place, as you can see on track. He's actually down in 17th place, the first of the laps runners. But yeah, he's still there. So what could have been, I guess, for the reader.
Indeed, right. What could have been? As currently Clampett leads away. Fisher in second. Third place is Fraser Williamson. Fourth, we have ourselves the driver of Greg Zeeks, Connery Maddock, Jan Hoffman, Duran, Robert Adams, Brian Duell, Andres Elk, rounding out your top 10. Who's going to win this one?
Difficult to say. Brian Duell's still there. We know he's fast. I've got my money on... It's going to have to be Clampett. He's always been in the top 3 for pretty much most of the race. But then again, Williamson's still there, so any of the top 3 I think have a fantastic chance to win this. But keep your eyes on Brian Duell.
I completely agree. Duell right now is classified in P number 9. He knows how these restart rules work, and he is gonna start getting aggressive. There is the positive sim racing car on board of him, and you notice now that these guys have started transitioning to the outside line in terms of starts and restarts, just a little bit more.
Yeah, maybe just trying to avoid being jumped at the start as well. Obviously, like I said, you can overtake on the outside on the restart, not on the inside. So sort of keeping as far outside as possible is a good tactic. But it does leave you open for the inside line, for the inside overtake, and sort of have a car on your inside, which you never really want at any track, even in an oval. So, but look how close Will Fisher is to the back of Clampett. He does not want to give him any space as they come to the restart now, and Clampett gets a good start, and Fisher there's a big between him and Fraser Williams behind him, and he's now overtaking a De Verde as Sites as well. Look at that gap, that's a massive gap. They've jumped them completely.
It is. It will come down though as they work themselves down this back straightaway, so long as Williamson doesn't get involved in any drama behind him. Williamson in third place right now. It's currently a 2-horse race. 10 to go at the line. Logan Clampett versus Will Fisher. 1 and 2 in this one, and they timed that restart absolutely perfectly.
It did. 10 to go and 10 minutes to go. So either way, you need to be at the front of the field now. If another caution comes out, you want to be at the front, so that's where you're classified. But Will Fisher now all over the back of Logan Clampett coming into T1 and now coming through T2. And they're both sort of hogging this middle line. They're finding that line to work better for them eking out towards the end of the corner. And Clampett just very much negotiating his car up to that outside wall.
Yeah,
and there's the flag.
Oh, yeah, there's a caution. There's a caution. We've got to spin out the rear of the field. That is Patrick Post.
See what happened to old Patrick. That's not been good for him. He was another driver who was doing very well before he got involved in a couple of incidents. Let's see what happened. He just went round on his own there. No one else involved. Just couldn't quite hold it. Tried to counter steer. Car's already gone by the time he hit it. And he does come back onto the circuit. Thankfully misses the wall and doesn't hit anyone. So no one else actually involved there at all, but the caution does come out with now only 9 minutes to go.
He didn't hit anything, by the way, so that anything or anyone, so yeah. That's the important thing, though. 9 minutes of this event to go. With cautions, now, we will just about finish this race as is, but you want to be careful. And, of course, Arjen de Vries, his luck has run out. He now has to go to the rear of the pacing line with 2 laps to go.
There are probably a couple of the leaders that are sort of wiping the sweat from their brow and thinking, oh, okay, great, finally De Vries is out of the way and we can fight now, as Logan Clampett just catches up to the iRacing.com pace car. And looking behind Clampett, I wonder what Fisher was thinking at this point, because you see at the start, he pegged what Clampett was going to try and do. He got right onto the back of him on the restart and they both went away. I wonder if there's a time or a place, I wonder if he's mocking up in his mind maybe an overtake?
Potentially. And of course, you've got to set it up early and be prepared for the retaliation, because in this case, 2 wide, you've got, I think, you know, rather than being sitting dark like you have at Daytona, you need to make sure you get yourself into the right lane at the right time. If you do it wrong and you end up on the inside lane when you're on the outside, tough. You're not going to find a way back out of the pack to then find where you want to be for your car to be in its best position.
Even though we're speaking about Clampett and Fisher, that's definitely not right off for Connery Maddock. He's down in 5th place and he's been a front runner for the entire race, as has for the last third or so Fraser Williamson, despite his aerobatics earlier on. And Brian Duell's still there. He's in 8th place. He needs to get moving if he's going to improve his position, though. But it's getting to the point now where it's looking like the top 5, top 6 or nothing. You need to really be up there now.
And there's one driver that's come on towards pit road. That's interesting. Who is that on towards pit road? That is Colin Van Ram. So he was actually going to go down in the pacing line anyway, so that's not an issue. Logan Clampett then leading. There will be 5 laps to go when this race restarts. Will Fisher second, Fraser Williamson in third, then Greg Zeet, Connery Maddock rounding out your top 5. And as soon as that as soon as that green flag waves, essentially the next flag will end the race, be it either the checkered flag or the yellow.
We hope to see the checkered, obviously, as broadcasters and race fans, but it could go either way at this point. Will Fisher just getting nice and close to the back of Logan Clampett. He doesn't want to let Logan get away, especially on this restart, because even a gap of a couple of meters can affect this result now. We're so close to the end of the race as they come round turn 4, still pacing.
Yeah, indeed. So don't forget, tomorrow night, ladies and gentlemen, we do it all again. Sunday night skippies, part of RaceSpot Primetime, streaming live on iRacing Live as drivers continue on the journey of the Skip Barber 2K World Cup. You see it every Sunday night here on RaceSpotTV. That'll be 9 PM here on RaceSpotTV, streaming live also on iRacing Live, and they head themselves to Twin Ring Motegi in Japan. Always a fantastic race for that one. Lights are now off on top of the pace car, Jimmy.
They are, and now this is crunch time. This is it. Last 5 minutes, last couple of laps of the race, and Logan his heart must be him beating out of his chest, and I would be. But this is the important time. You need to keep calm, hit your marks, keep one eye in the mirror, keep one eye behind you just to see where Will Fisher is, and Fraser Williamson as well. Any of his 3 drivers, I think, are capable of winning this race. But Greg Seitz, who's I think that's the highest he's been this entire race, is looking like he could also come away with this. So that's part of the fun of Oval. It's always be a bit of a lottery at the end.
Well, here we are then. We've got ourselves a total of 15 drivers on the lead lap. The last one of those is for Leap Labour right now. Drivers having to fall to the back of the field. That includes Arian De Frita. Green flag is out. Next flag will pretty much end this one as they come down in towards turn number 1. And business is about to pick up, Jimmy.
Fantastic start again from Clampett, getting away from Fisher. Good start as well from Williamson. He was right on the back of Will Fisher as Greg Seitz got caught napping a little bit there. Won't matter too much. It will catch up again in the draft if he is close enough. But I think now this is a 3-horse race to the end as Logan Clampett goes to the inside, sort of shows some tension of defending as Will Fisher stays there unabashed. And now very close going to turn 3 as Fraser tries the higher line. Is it going to work for him? I don't think it is, as Greg Seitz follows him up there and consequently loses a little bit of ground with the front runners.
Yeah, as it stands, Clampett is your biggest mover of the top 3. He's up 13 places. Zeet is up 17 places overall as well. Side by side then for the race lead between Logan Clampett and Will Fisher. Fisher is in the number 1 red and white machine, and then it is Logan Clampett in the number 22 darker red, black and white car. Down they come in towards turn number 3 again. And Logan Clampett has the lead for the moment, but here comes Fisher back down to the inside there, Jimmy.
See, he's really struggling to keep it down there. The cars are both wiggling. They're on the edge of traction at the moment, just trying to eat that extra millisecond out of the car. Side by side going up the front straight. If that was the end of the race, Clampett would have run it. So Fisher is maybe running a couple of little laps now, seeing where he needs to be at the start-finish line. And so that needs to be better. Again up the inside and again wiggling as Fraser Williamson has started to try and catch him, trying to understeer him big time. Williamson in the background. You can see his tyres turning but nothing happening as Clampett still retains the lead for now.
Yep, 2.5 miles left to go of this event. Then Clampett still leads from Fisher as they head themselves through towards turn number 3 and 4 once again. And Williamson is there. Greg Zeet is there. Connery Maddock is there as well. We have a car who is off, but he's on pit road. It's Tran. It is all okay right now. We've got ourselves 5 guys in the lead pack. Brian Dewell in P6. He has faded. 2 to go. Down in towards turn number 1. And here comes Zeet. Zeet, and they all make contact almost there. How do they just survive that one, Jimmy?
Fantastic driving from Fisher. A big dive from Seats there. Fisher sort of knocked out the thread a bit. Now it's a 4-horse race at the end of this, and 5 cars, I think, are still all together at the end of this lap. Who's it going to be? Greg Seats going up the inside. This is going to be very close, side by side.
The white flag will come out in just 1 corner's time then. Who will it be? Clampett still leads. Fisher second, but Zeet has got himself to me. Caution is out. We are done. Logan Clampett is going to win. Yeah, indeed. The caution is out. Logan Clampett, Will Fisher. Will get confirmation in the moment who it is, but our timing scoring initially showed there. Logan Clampett is your winner of Saturday night skippies, and we were robbed of a fantastic finish there. A caution came out on the last lap of the event. We need to figure out who it was. We'll do so in our post-race coverage, but well, Zeitz would have been really angry with that because he was setting himself up for another huge lunge in towards turn number 1. Logan Clampett, though, out of corner number 4. Jimmy, he's going to win Saturday night skippies, the Skip Barber 2K Oval League.
And like I said, we were robbed of a fantastic finish, but that's not to take away from Clampett putting his car in the right place at the right time. That's part of oval racing. You've got to try and play the game of oval chess in this case. Will Fisher, though, before the caution came out, was pretty much going up for the overtake for for turn 1, and I think might have actually won this race. He was looking so feisty, but not if Greg Seitz had anything to do about it. He actually, I think, very drastically affected Will Fisher's run at the end there, but it was all futile in the end. We had the caution. I didn't actually quite see what happened in the caution, but Clampett's one that came away the victor, Fisher second, and Seitz third from what I've got on our timing here.
Yeah, we're going to get confirmation in a moment. This first then is the crazy dive by Greg Zeitz in towards turn number 1. Just slow it down for you then, we'll show it. Because that was, I mean, Zeitz then, he was in the inside line. He drifted up into lane number 2. You can see that at the same time, trying to get a little bit of space. Will Fisher was moving up into lane number 3. They touched a little bit. They were drifting. They somehow survived it. If it had finished there, Fraser Williamson would have been collected as well. Probably the 42 car would have won the race. But they all somehow managed to keep it going. Logan Clampett then was going to get himself the outside line and the momentum as they headed themselves down the back straightaway. We're going to slow it down for you then through turn number 3 and 4 again. And we're going to show you what happens as they come down. And there's Zeitz there holding that inside line. He's not able to do anything, though, at that point in time. And you see as they came out of the corner, well, here we are. We're going to go 3 wide with the number 22 machine of Logan Clampett with the advantage. Then you have yourselves a number 1 car trying to thread the needle. Greg Zeitz was coming up, and that is when we had the caution. Still trying to get an understanding of where that caution is from our coverage up above. Very hard to actually spot where that caution was.
Yeah, I've been trying to find it as well.
Oh, I just found it. Rear of the pack. I think very, very rear of the pack. I need to figure out the driver, but I've just seen, yeah, we can see 2 cars coming together at the rear of the field. They are going to be the number 47 machine of Mark Tippery, the number 18 car, can't see who that is. Yeah, number 18 machine, number 47 of Mark Tippery involved in that, and that was Elliot Smith, who was the other driver involved. That is what brought the caution out. Smith's car was on pit road, and that is why we ended up having ourselves a wild and dramatic end to this event. Let's then have a look at your final race results here from Saturday Night Skippies on RaceSpotTV. Well, that was crazy. Logan Clampett wins then. Times doesn't really matter. Will Fisher second, Greg Zeitz in third, Fraser Williamson, Connery Maddock. They are your top 5. Brian Duell in P6. Fahim Atanides, Jan Hoffman, Rob Adams, and Philippe Burr round out your top 10. We'll show you page number 2 of the result. Jimmy, let's start post-race coverage. You, first of all, have the driver of Fraser Williamson, who, let's be honest, has been everywhere in this event here today.
Yes, Fraser, thank you for joining us in the booth here. Now, we noticed earlier on, I think we've given you the award for high jump today. You managed to get pretty high earlier on.
Yeah, some of the wrecks there were just absolutely outstanding. These cars only hitting 115, but you can still launch them, spin them. Motoring gymnastics.
We saw a couple of instances of cars going 3 or 4 wide. How was that in the cockpit?
That, for me, is comfortable because I'm used to the oval aspect of these things. But some of these guys are primarily roads, so I'm not sure they're used to going 3 and 4 wide, lap after lap.
That's what we were talking about here in these machines. Not really oval machines, but it brings a very interesting twist to the sport. So would you say you're satisfied with the end result of 4th?
more than satisfied with fourth. Actually, I was just hoping to finish the race.
I think a lot of people were. We also have with us in the booth as well, we have Connery Madrick, who came home in 5th position, just behind Fraser Williamson. Connery, you were leading for a while, ended up in 5th place. How was the race for you?
The race was actually really surprising. I did not expect for 1 minute that would be qualifying on pole. I got this car about 3 weeks before this to run in the Monday Night Skippies. I've never done any oval racing on it. Usually I am an oval racer, but yeah, it was really surprising.
It's always nice to come away with a good position, especially in qualifying, so congratulations there. Also we have in the booth as well Philippe Barber, who for the most part of the race was actually running quite high, then ended up in an incident and ended up sort of down, finishing in, I think it was 10th position in the end. Philippe, what happened out there?
Well, I was hoping to just finish on my fuel load because I was very close on fuel, but that incident, yeah, that just destroyed my hopes, and yeah, 10th was a miracle in the end because yeah, I don't think I could have done better. And yeah, for us road racers, it's a learning curve. When to pit, when to stay behind, when to take the outside line, when to take the inside line. It's something I'll have to learn this year.
Well, it's always good to learn more, especially in aspects of racing. Just a question for the three of you now. I mean, any of you can answer if you like. Will and I were discussing the idea of counting back your pit stops and over racing, really trying to figure out, you know, all the permutations of it, if there's a caution here, if there's a caution there. Are you guys all doing that on the fly, or do you have someone in the sky helping you out there?
Philippe, do you want to go?
Yeah, well, I'm just, it's just, I have nobody to help me, so I'm just trying to figure it out as we go. But I just knew that on a full tank I could do 40 laps, and that's the only information I had.
Yeah, it's the same thing with me. I worked out it was about 40 laps per tank, so I was sort of working that out. And also under caution, I was doing a lot of fuel saving.
Yeah, the fuel saving under caution, and myself and Conway were bouncing ideas back off each other on when to pit and, well, not to take tyres pretty much.
Yeah, no tyres at all. These tyres are indestructible on skippies.
Yeah, we've got those road tyres on there. Very good with the wear. But thank you very much for joining us, guys, in the booth. Fantastic job for all three of you. Commiserations to Philippe there for getting involved in that incident. But you got to the end of the lead lap, so I guess that's something to be proud of.
Is this where I start talking again?
Probably.
Awesome. Look at that. Seamless here. As that will wrap up our coverage then of a Saturday night event in the Skip Barber 2K Oval League. Don't forget, of course, so tomorrow night we go back to more familiar territory. It's the Skip Barber 2K World Cup, and it is at Twin Ring Motegi. That will be at 9 PM GMT. A part of RaceSpot Primetime, streaming live also on iRacing Live. Thank you very much to Jimmy. Thank you very much to the guys that stepped along and all of the racers. We'll talk to you all next time. Good night.